Before the slide decks gets acclimatized to this kind of a, let's say, hall, I want to ask a question. And this is something which is germane to everyone. What's the most fragile aspect about humans? Mind? What else? Emotions? Anyone else? Who said ego? Exactly. The most fragile thing about humans, it's ego. And that's exactly what ChatGPT has done. It's tickled our ego. Someone has come from behind and said, look, I can do better than you. And that's agnostic. Kids, professionals, spouses, everyone is using ChatGPT and challenging the intelligence of each and every one. Am I right? I'll give an anecdote. I recently did a workshop with a very large Indian conglomerate. And they just had the board members in the room. And during one of the coffee break, I asked one of the board member, and he's fairly well-recognized board member across Indian enterprises. I said, sir, why are you attending this session? He said, Sameer, you know one thing? My wife approached me and asked, do you know ChatGPT? And I said, no. And his wife said, look, my mother knows ChatGPT, you better start learning about ChatGPT. So the first time ever, there is a FOMO factor, there is a pressure coming from the top, and for the first time, we've seen democratization of intelligence across enterprises. In the next 30 minutes, this is what I would like to demonstrate through a narrative, through a storyline that, look, today, in this room, while everyone is talking about HR, the new side of how CHROs, HR leaders would like to work, the fact over there is that without AI, this journey of reimagining HR function may not be possible. And let me give you enough instances from the external world, use cases, industry example, it's already happening. Is it plugged in? Let me jump to an example which is breaking one of the myths. Now, for the uninitiated, for the ones who do not understand AI, analytics, Gen AI, not an issue. Let me give you one example of many of the folks in this room believe AI is expensive, not for the masses, it's complex. That's not the case. This is a real life story in the public domain of a gentleman called Makoto Koyake, the young looking guy who's standing at the back of the picture. Makoto is born and bred up in Japan. He finished his engineering, and that's the time he went to meet his parents. He was quite happy. His parents in Japan are growing cucumbers. They're into agriculture. In Japan, agriculture is still considered to be a very revered, very sought after occupation, and cucumber is a very exotic variety. And it's sold in the auction market every week. Now, during one of the conversations with Makoto, his mother said, look, our income over the years from growing cucumbers have come down. It's dwindled. And that got Makoto thinking. He had studied a bit of AI analytics in his engineering days. He said, maybe this is the best time to put that to use. So what he did, in fact, he clicked about 2,000 odd pictures from his iPhone from various angles, dimensions of the cucumbers. He downloaded, he went back to his room at his laptop. He downloaded Google TensorFlow, which is an open source, freely available tool to build algorithms. He purchased a Raspberry Pi 3 processor from Amazon, which is about $35. The whole idea was to create an algorithm which actually can understand which variety, which particular yield of cucumber his parents should be growing. Few attempts, he got about 30% accuracy, wasn't happy. Until he reached about 70%, he was fine. He went back to his parents and said, this is exactly what you should be growing in terms of the variety of cucumbers. they did that. 18 months down the line, his parents' income went up by 400%. And the cost associated by using AI was just $35, the Raspberry Pi 3 processor. Now, this is the spate in terms of the magic what AI causing when I call it's working in a much, much, I would say, bigger manner. Now, the fact over there, bringing back to our whole side of the pandemic-laden business world, organizations today have seen few black swan events in the last couple of years. One, there is no escape from organizations agnostic of the segments to innovate, optimize, and really kind of, let's say, transform. And I'll come to that, what it means in the world of HR as well. Second, the rules of the marketplace are changing. Gone are the days where the organizations used to create a 10-year plan. There's no organization which is doing that particular thing because the marketplace demands real-time information intelligence gathering and ensuring every particular facet of data needs to be captured to provide intelligence back to the companies, to the enterprises, and to the functions. If that's not enough, every organization today, or rather industry, is plagued with multiple challenges. Geopolitical situations, business challenges, hyper-competition, differentiation, market share, FOMO factor, and the world of the CEO is also very, very difficult. It's very challenging. Look at some of the expectations which have come in post-pandemic. One, CEOs are extremely paranoid about the FOMO factor. Second, they're in a world where they need to stay relevant and also means be very, very clear that the cash doesn't, I would say, burn out if they face another kind of a, let's say, pandemic. Third, they have no option but to start innovating at scale. Now in the world of the CXOs, there is a different role sphere change which is happening. A CIO is not just happy keeping the lights on. A CHRO is not just absolutely fine just saying, look, I've done what it takes best to maintain the employees. And so is the world for the other C-suite level, which means there's something as a word, as a coinage called AI strategy, which is coming into the organizations, into the enterprises, and really nudging organizations to create meaning or the decisions out of data. Now, how this is done, you'll all find in a very, very simple set of examples what I'll show. But the entire aspect about this, the genesis is about data. We are in a world where there is a data tsunami, a data detonation, and just to give you a sense of the numbers on this slide, 1 zettabyte of data is equivalent to all the video titles of the Netflix put together multiplied by 350 million times. That's 1 zettabyte of data. Now think of this. If that's not enough, we also have got the social or the digital data. It's happening as we speak. You can't escape what's happening from Twitter, Insta, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Look at the kind of tweets which are happening with one gentleman, Sam Altman, resigning, not resigning, reinstating. It's happening on a split-second basis, and accordingly, the share market in the US is reacting. Now think of this. There is no point for the organizations, enterprises, just to collect data. In fact, data per se is dumb. What's happening today, a word called algorithm is ruling the roost in terms of enterprises. Algorithms are the ones which are providing intelligence, insights, and recommendations for the enterprises. Everyone is aware about these kind of organizations. For some of you, it's about asset light, digital, maybe kind of a very transformative company. For me, these are math houses. And I'll tell you why these are called math houses. Because so much of proliferation of algorithms have gone into each and every aspect of their product and services. Their algorithms have become very, very powerful and robust. Google search engine, Netflix recommendation, Uber optimization routing. These are the algorithms which are actually giving what I call a secret sauce to these organizations to perform better. And what's happening, the way it's getting accelerated, the world of artificial intelligence is now getting so much into the companies where there is an emergence, and I call this is a hypothesis which is soon to be a reality called algorithmic economy. Now think of this. How many of you deal or transact in stock or scripts? Shares, stock scripts? Now you've seen every day there are gyrations around the up and lows, crests and troughs in terms of the stocks, right? Now think of this. You are the CHRO of an organization which is a mid-sized organization, and you're facing a challenge in terms of retaining the mid-level leaders, mid-level leaders. You've tried different mechanisms. You've tried different ways in terms of methods, frameworks, deploying consultants, advisors, nothing worked. You go to this algorithmic exchange, which is a virtual exchange just like a stock market. You log in with your user ID password. The moment you do that, there are industry segments and there are a bunch of functions. HR, marketing, customer experience, supply chain, operations. Industry segments could be CPG, banking, retail, healthcare. So assuming you're part of, let's say, CPG, you go into the HR, you look at the attrition, also go into some of the modules. Now there are a bunch of algorithms created by the niche boutique companies, startups, which are actually demonstrating how you can solve this problem of mid-level attrition. You try one of the algorithms as a demo, as a POC. You like one of this particular algorithm. You test in your environment. You buy more subscriptions of that, and it starts working. This is the level of business planning, or rather business problem solving at scale, which has started happening where there are algorithms already defining how organizations should solve their problem. Now it looks a bit esoteric, maybe kind of a, let's say, unrealistic. I'll substantiate that with a bunch of examples. Now this is where, when we take a step further, what's happening today, many of the VC firms, hedge funds, PE firms, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, Malaysia, US, are actually now deploying algorithms as a part of boardroom settings. So much of data has been crunched into the algorithms to make it strong, where they're able to now vote, not as a proxy, but maybe on behalf of the board members or along with the board members to really say how the company should perform better. And at some level, AI strategy is nothing but the new normal at business. What it means, one, in the world of HR, it's reimagining the employee experience. Second, innovation of product and services where AI comes in. And third, transforming of the business. Look at the business value chains of HR. Acquisition, retention, the whole aspect of comp and benefit. Each and every value chain of the HR is now getting embedded with the niche boutique companies coming in, ripping apart the business value chain and creating a new normal through AI or Gen AI. And that's where the new transformation of businesses will start happening. Now, what does it mean for the ones in this room? You've heard what the external world is seeing, what they are experiencing. But in your domain, what does it mean? One, for the very simple kind of an aspect of understanding AI, let me put it this way. AI in a very utopian stage is trying to mimic the human brain. The ability of the brain to act, perceive, learn, and think is what AI is trying to do by image, voice, text, and video side of analysis. Image, voice, text, and video. And that's why you see in the world of OpenAI, ChatGPT is a god on the text side. You do something, the prompting comes in. As we say in a lighter vein, our ChatGPT in the HR world is Mr. Nathan, who's sitting out here. You prompt him for something, the response will come very, very fast. And it's actually nuanced because he has built his own, what we call LLM, which is large language model of HR. That's exactly how fast machines are learning to understand the nuances and the nature of the industry. And I'll give you some example to prove that. Which also means HR as a function is getting more strategic, period. We can't just dwell in terms of saying, look, it's all tactical, it's all very operational. No. There is a layer of Gen AI, which is nothing but essentially all the data picked together for a particular company, which is now being analyzed to create what it means in terms of a particular company solving different aspects of HR problems through Gen AI or AI. And I always keep on saying, for the ones who are still on the journey of analytics, AI, or Gen AI, do not get confused with the nomenclatures. Eventually, it's all about making decisions from the data. The aspect over there, if we look, why it's getting so hard for the HR, I mean, multiple studies have happened, if I put it that way, where HR is actually being shown as a laggard amongst all the business function in terms of adoption of AI. Now, there are some very intrinsic challenges as well. The systems are not speaking, inadequate understanding of how AI needs to be evangelized, and second, or rather most important, there is a human element involved. It can't just be automated or can get into an AI rhythm from the day one, which also means increasingly HR function is leaning towards becoming much more AI enabled as we see in the time to come. Now, if we look at this entire business value chain of HR, this is how it looks like, right? Right from attracting the talent or acquisition of the talent to the retention. There are ways in terms of how today AI or analytics is getting embedded into each and every value chain of the HR. There are companies, there are firms, there are startups, there are ventures which are catering to each and every aspect which is solving that problem. Which also means that in the world where you operate today, in the function or the role what you operate today, how does it look like? When given a problem, how can you solve with AI? I'll come to this framework. But there is a paradox which is happening, and I keep on saying with a wry smile, in the organizations, and I read that verbatim, those who make the fewest decisions have the most information, and those with the most decisions have the least information. This is what we call in the world of AI a paradox. And there is a reason for this paradox. And I want to make this session a bit provocative, and I use this word, human beings are predictably irrational. And I'm not saying that. There is a gentleman called Dan Ariely. He has written a book called Predictably Irrational. And there is a theory in that book which is well proven, which is the genesis how today AI is solving business problem at scale. And the theory is that, look, on any given day, a human being takes about 60-odd decisions, strategic, tactical, operational. What is that my plan after this session? Am I getting award? What's my plan for the weekend? What's my kind of a career plan? Now, some of these decisions we are taking on a daily basis, right? The fact over there is that majority of our decisions are actually being taken through an historical evidence, hunch, intuition, influence by our parents, colleagues, and spouses. You heard it right, spouses. Now think of this. The way the world is moving, where algorithms are ruling each and every part of our life, personal or professional, very fast, all the decisions will be taken by the algorithms. You've seen that happening already when you are transacting on online channels. They understand what you are seeking. That's the reason why there's so much of bespoke, personalized, individual product and services coming just for you. This is exactly what the magic of AI which is happening, which means in the role what you're playing today, how do you start leveraging AI? I've got a very simple framework to prove that, which will be punctuated by a lot of industry example, some related to HR, some very adjacent to other business function, because the whole idea through this session is to give you a very holistic viewpoint in terms of how problem solving at scale happen with AI. And the three dimensions of what I call the trifactor of this framework is: one, augmenting the intelligence. Any revolution when it comes in, and today we are talking about AI revolution, it challenges the status quo, which means the intelligence needs to go up collectively, which is nothing but distilling signals from the noise. And I'll come to that, what it means. Second, the most contentious issue: does automation take jobs? I'll talk about that, what it means. In my terms, it's about human-machine rebalancing or alignment. Third, we often forget, you can use any bit of technology, lot of innovation, lot of, I would say, advancement, but any adoption of technology only happens when there is a human behavior. Eventually, algorithms are black box. They're nothing but a bunch of codes or patterns. Unless it has a human element, it will not have a mass adoption. Now let me take these frameworks and talk about with a bunch of examples. Who's the gentleman on my left side? Any guesses? Zuckerberg. Well, this example is not about Zuckerberg. This example is about any organization which is a public listed organization. As a part of the compliance, they have to go through a compliance earnings call every 3 months, right? They have to broadcast their financial results. And the CEO comes on the stage. Every time you see a CEO on the stage, have you realized when was the time a CEO admitted that the company is not doing well? Never. There's a money at stake. The money is from the shareholders or the stakeholders. And what happens over there today, AI is being used to analyze if the CEOs are really talking what they're really saying. So what happens? A CEO is standing on the stage. He or she is very, very euphoric, talking great about the company, 2% kind of a sequential jump, 10% annually, the company is doing great. Now, the analyzing of the voice is happening of the CEO on a real-time basis. So any given point of time, there is a lump in the throat. There is a softness in the voice when the numbers are euphoric. Understand there is something not going right. And those voice samples are being analyzed through the facial expressions. So whenever you have a lump in the throat, you'll have freckles on the face. And this is being analyzed using the AI. Now the fact over there is that the CEOs are smart. They're well rehearsed and tutored to fake their emotions. So what happens, the CEO is standing on the stage talking great about the company, but at the same time, if you see in an earnings call, there are a bunch of CXOs at the back, chief compliance head, a CHRO, or a CFO, or a chief legal officer. So if the CEO is really acting very, very euphoric, very, very bullish about the company, but at the same time, the camera is pointing about the CFO maintaining a simple poker-faced expression, assume something is wrong. This is the extent of new data sources which is being collected to analyze to ensure that the company results are not just what it's seen, it's much beyond that. The second example is about what I call new data sources. Now, this is a satellite image of a US retail mall. Not a big deal. Today, organizations are trying to collect data sources to analyze the footfalls. Now, in this case, the retail mall is trying to analyze the make of the cars, the models of the car, total times the cars have been parked in the parking lot to understand what would be the financial earnings of this particular retail company 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now. In the world of HR, there is a great innovation which is happening in terms of employee retention. Employees come with their own DNAs, their own personas. They are segmented today. Now, using sophisticated AI, personas are getting built. Personas are nothing but classification about how employees are valued in the organization. What characteristics, attributes they are showing which makes them valuable to the organization. And that's where AI is coming into the picture in terms of creating those segments of personas and bunch them together to analyze how these segments are performing on a collective basis. This is the level of what we call granular understanding which is going in terms of making employee profiles much more amenable and much more receptive to the risk and rewards, what they enjoy in the organization. Let's look at this video clip. Can we have the voice, please?
Baseman. Let's go, let's go. Over here. No, come on. It's all right. Reloading. Good shot. Those are quick throw. And it's intercepted. Oh, no. Step in front of the throw. Oh, my God.
I actually wanted to show an adjacent function example. This is a marketing example, but this is also relevant in the HR world. Now, if some of you are fans of US soccer, this is a Super Bowl match, just akin to the World Cup finals. Of course, India lost, so we're not talking about the finals, but one single Super Bowl match attracts $160 billion of ad spend, $160 billion. One TV commercial cost about $2.5 to $3 million. Imagine the money at stake. Now, if as a marketeer you put money on this particular match, and for some reason your CEO believes that, look, the ad wasn't visible, there was hardly any brand amplification, you were smart. Same clip, using computer vision, real-time kind of a video streaming, see the brands coming on the right-hand side immediately as they are focused.
Baseman. Let's go. Over here. No, come on. It's all right. Reloading. Good shot. Those are quick throw. And it's intercepted. Oh, no. Step in front of the throw. Oh, my God.
So as you could see, using what we call marketing attribution, anytime the brand was visible on the jersey of the player, turf of the stadium, players, aisle, gallery, it was visible. In the world of the HR, this is what organizations are trying to do. Now, everyone have got those CCTV cameras at the entrance where employees are coming and registering their attendance. Now, the fact over there is that many of you may be thinking that, look, this is one of the way to ensure there is a security kind of a, let's say, compliance, no trespassing. Companies have gone ahead and started understanding how does the moods of the employees look like on any given day. Disgruntled, happy, not so happy, and they're coming out with the moodometers just through understanding the facial expressions, going back to the HR and telling them, look, this cohort of the employees in your team needs some instant gratification, maybe pat on the back. And this is happening just to understand how you can have much more better retention in the organization. Automation. This is the most rhetoric thing which is happening today. AI will displace jobs. There'll be a bunch of upheavals in the functions. Look, it's very, very clear that, look, at the end of the day, we're all going through a phase where reskilling is a continuous journey, is not just a static piece. Companies are trying to understand the daily and the trivial chores. If that can be automated, good. Let the other workforce get more reskilled. And that's happened in each and every revolution we've gone through. Agriculture to industrial to auto to software, now to AI, which means new skills will emerge, which means more opportunity in the new skill, and that's how it's meant for every revolution. Even for the organizations which are looking at streaming bunch of profiles through AI, that's what they've started doing. They've started creating those scores, those aggregates in CHRs to understand how does they can hire the best of the talent, which also means now a cursory look at this particular image will maybe give an idea, or maybe this is a movie shot from a Matrix movie. No, this actually is an AI and HR case study. This case study is about an e-commerce retailer chain in China. one of the outskirts of China. They've got a big warehouse, and what they've got is hundreds and thousands of employees working in a shift basis. The HR and the operation managers are looking at the images through CCTV cameras. Now, your first reaction would be, what are HR folks doing looking at the images? What happens in a warehouse? Millions of transactions on a daily basis, the fatigue level goes high. So assuming at 11:45 p.m., the algorithm indicates collectively the fatigue levels on the floor is going high. The HR managers come into the action. They go on the floor, pause the production. Instead of reprimanding the employees or the workers, they're actually giving them a pat on the back awards, coming back, resuming the operations. Now think of this. The pat on the back awards usually are given during town halls when the CEO is there, and that's a dated rewards and recognition. This is happening as you speak, and instantly the employees start feeling more motivated. Now the fact over there is that all of these things could work only if there is a human element. And we keep on saying from a world of technology, if anything has worked in this world, is a theory called nudge. It's prophesied by Dr. Richard Thaler, who had actually won a Nobel Prize. And nudge is a theory which is based on the principle, if nothing works in terms of rules and regulations, start nudging. And I'll give an examples in terms of how this is impactful. An idle brushing time for humans or the kids is about 2 minutes. Oral-B, to inculcate much more better oral hygiene among kids, launched a brush which had a sensor. Not a big deal. Every machine today, instrument carries a sensor. They also, along with the sensor, gave an app. So the moment you purchase this brush, you can download this app on your mobile, and this is the visual dashboard you can show to your kid who starts brushing in the morning. Anything less than 2 minutes, the emoji is frowning, it's screaming. You show that emoji to the kids, he or she will brush it back. Anything more than 2 minutes, there is a happy emoji, jingle, and the kid is happy going to the school. That's a different thing. This brush is being used more by the adults. Reason? 2 minutes is a big brushing time. This ice cream manufacturer did everything to increase the sale of the ice cream. This is a UK-based ice cream manufacturer. Everything. Nothing happened. Then they deployed a cognitive neuroscientist, a behavioral scientist, who understood what it means. And this is what he did. He played a jingle in the parts of the departmental store where this ice cream was kept. Go back to our formative early years. Whenever we used to had an ice cream wala coming in our neighborhood, he used to play some kind of a jingle. We used to get drawn. This particular jingle made all the folks in that part of the store who were keen to look where his jingle is coming, went. Within a quarter, 15% lift in ice cream happened just through playing a jingle. Don't ask how much that cognitive neuroscientist charged. God forbid, if someone has to go through this experience, it's agonizing, it's claustrophobic. Specifically for the kids, if they have to go through this particular machine, 80% is the sedation rate. Until one of the manufacturers said enough is enough. He got a UI UX person, and this is what that person did. Just a change of design. I'm sure even if you haven't tried now, you would like to try just because of the design. Let's look at this. How many of you would like to see this example getting implemented in India? Jaywalking is a serious problem, and government, I'm sure, have done multiple things to kind of mitigate that, but maybe this kind of an example can really work, the face of death, as we really call it. Before I end, I want to show you one particular example where what's happening today is a convergence of different business functions coming together with the help of AI to see how enterprises are gaining that momentum. Please take a look, and then we'll open up if there's any Q&A.
The Brussels Motor Show, the biggest car event in Belgium, where all car brands show off their newest technologies. But it was Volvo who hijacked all the attention with the first car that could recruit its own technicians. Volvo presents the recruiting car.
Ik ben de HR90. Ik ben op zoek naar onderhoudstechnici voor de Volvo-fabriek in Gent.
200 job openings were announced on social media, inviting everyone to come and check out the first car that recruits its own engineers. To conduct the interviews, we tapped into the car's technology.
Welcome, Oliver. Glad to see you put on your blue shirt for the interview. Can you show me where my electric compressor is?
Sure. Here.
Please allow me to play some piano music to make you feel more comfortable. Tell me, why should I hire you?
I've been passionate about coding.
By applying AI, we could actually test social and technical skills and make unbiased evaluations of all applicants. These were sent to Volvo's HR managers for further interviews. Changing the conversation from cars to jobs got us national media attention.
Et l'entretien d'embauche sera d'abord mené par un véhicule et par son intelligence artificielle.
70% of all news coverage about the Brussels Motor Show was dedicated to Volvo. More than 1 in 2 Belgians was reached through PR coverage alone, leading to 300% more price requests. And the 200 vacancies, well, they were all filled.
That's all I had for the session.